Shawty, don't fear the bouncer. He doesn't care about your baggy sweats or your apple bottom. Come on, Shawty, don't fear the bouncer. Shawty, hit the floor. Don't fear the bouncer. The next thing that you know, don't fear the bouncer. Shawty got low.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. Apple bottoms, All right, how's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? I got a fever. The only prescription is more. How dare you turn it? What did I turn off? I didn't turn it off. The song ended. Fine. This is what you get now. This is what you get instead.
Okay, hold on. Where does it hurt?
My stomach. ちゃんと痛いけど痛い。
救急車を呼んでもらったからといって安心はできません。しっかりと自分の状態を相手に伝えましょう。
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
私はひどい下痢です。
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
肩に手を乗せ I have クロスして A bad case お腹をさすって of diarrhea ジェスチャーゲームの要領です。感情を込めてやってみましょう。
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a
That's what you get instead. Who's responsible for that? The Eric Johnson Space Administration is not responsible for the contents of said message. I have a bad case of diarrhea. All right. Never do that again, please? Oh. Well, wait, it annoys you? Oh, I'm going to do it more. All right, so per our discussion last night, we're going to play Workers today again. I know, there's a big surprise. And what I'm going to do is see if we can pull out of this debt spiral by 1991. We are 2.9 million in the hole, and we're going to have to fix that. So we got work to do, and I think either way, we're going to restart when we get to 1991 and go from there. I think that's a cool way to play this game. Just like Hearts, play until 91, see how far you get. Hey, Concrete, 49-month resub. Thank you very much. So, let's load up Spaghetzov. The wall's been down, so they should be able to get some apple bottom jeans. Yeah, maybe. All this game really makes me want to do is read about the collapse of the Soviet Union and how that all went down even more. It's an interesting, very interesting part of history. Very interesting. But yeah, either way, I'd say we're doing okay on this front. I'm gonna try to get that second oil field up today and see if we can just straight export oil, like straight export oil to eliminate this debt. Next city is named Nyakigrad. Yes, Nakigrad. This is Spaghetzov. And then Nyakigrad will be the next city. So let's just pause, kind of get our bearings again. What were we working on? Well, let's check the debt. We are 2.8. We actually bought down some of that debt, which is pretty good. We're 2.8 instead of 2.93 in the hole, which is good. That means we're paying it back slowly. And we could slowly pay it back with what we have. However, I don't think we'd be able to do it in time. This debt would not get paid off in time, I don't think. We're above ground, but we're not above ground enough. So over here where it says Starolinia, I have spots set up and prospected for a gigantic oil field. I want to extend the railroad out so we can export via NATO. Actually, we'd need to do rubles, but either way, I have the bridge already for the trains already made, so they could just zigzag through here and go down there. Simultaneously, we're gonna need to figure out block signaling today. I gotta figure out how the train signaling works in this game, and go from there. There is another oil deposit over here as well. It's basically right here. And it does kind of go into the water a little bit. We might have to reclaim some land there to get at that one. But yeah, this one over here is freaking gigantic. I never even finished getting all the right spots. These are just the highest concentrations in certain areas. And this oil field could potentially pump way more. It might even constitute building a village over here if we get to that point. I'm not sure we'll be able to pull that out in 3 or 4 years, but... Rigatonis Nyakigrad. Why does the tech tree end in 1991? Yeah, the Soviet Union collapsed, Tyler. Yeah. So, hold on one second. State-sponsored capitalism in Europe basically collapsed in 1991. The reason why it collapsed is basically the same reason that your republic in this game collapses. If you don't have your supply lines in order, you're screwed. You are screwed. Like, completely screwed. The Soviet Union was a coalition of countries, a compulsive coalition of countries that basically was formed at the end of the Second World War, when the Soviet Union pushed the Germans back. And the interesting thing, Tyler, just didn't remember the exact year. Got it. Oh, okay, cool. The interesting thing is that the right here is basically where the front lines of World War II stopped, for the most part. It was basically right here. This is pretty much, with the exception of Berlin, this is exactly where the front lines stopped. After when Germany surrendered. They stopped right as we cut Germany in half. In fact, West Germany, right? British, French, and Polish forces took the northeast or the northwest part of Germany, and Allied forces actually made it all the way into Austria here. This right here, for the most part, is where when Germany surrendered, May 8th, 1945. This more or less is the exact where the front line stopped, and it stayed there. Not necessarily from a war, but from an ideological standpoint, an ideological stalemate, basically, between centralization and decentralization. Why is Albania in red there? They were more aligned with Mao than the Soviets. This particular picture shows anything with anybody that had a centralized government. If you notice, China, Mongolia, Russia, Poland, East Germany, Romania, Bulgaria. That shows those are just Soviet republics. But yeah, there's all the republics of the Soviet Union. And it collapsed in 1991. It collapsed basically too much centralization. Like, if you think about like a hierarchy here, too much centralization loaded up the top of the pyramid, and it collapsed under its own economic weight, I guess. I mean, that's one way to look at it. There were other contributing factors. Chernobyl had a lot to do with it. Believe it or not, the Buran program had a lot to do with it. Yeah. You're spending too much, and you collapse under your own debt, which is kind of what's happening right now with us, but yeah. Yeah, this is it was all these countries here that are labeled were basically an amalgamation of centralized economic powers, and once again, they collapsed under their own weight. The West economically drove them into poverty to get rid of it because of territorial ambitions. The Soviets wanted to basically take all of Europe. Yeah, there's also that, King. I would say that the miniaturization of digital processors from the Apollo program was one of the reasons why the Soviet Union couldn't keep up. They had computers, and don't get me wrong, they had computers and even a primitive form of the internet, but there was no miniaturization. If you look at computers from the late 80s from the Soviet Union, right, they resemble computers from like the early 80s in the United States. They never were able to miniaturize their tech as much. They still want Europe. Well, a different entity wants that, Phils, but yeah, remember, the Soviet Union isn't Russia. Two different things. But yeah, you're not wrong. Not defending that. Not dying on that hill. Screw that. You're absolutely right, but it's important context is important. Despite being a different entity, the same ambitions exist, apparently. Weird, huh? The more stuff changes, the more it stays the same. Don't you want a poll or something? No, Alex, I think I know what I want to do. I'm going to try to pull us out of this debt spiral by 1991. I'm very interested to try and do it. Weren't some Soviet cosmonauts left in orbit when the USSR collapsed? Yes, Bartizel, yeah. Sergei Krikalev. I've actually shook that guy's hand. I've met him. I had the pleasure of meeting him at the 2014 ISS Research and Development Conference, and that's one of the only times I've ever been like starstruck by an astronaut. I'm like, dude, you've been everywhere. You were on Salyut, you were on Mir, you helped build the ISS, you've flown on the shuttle, you've flown on Soyuz, like, you're a freaking legend, dude. And he was like, thank you. And then because I didn't know what else to talk about, we talked about watching rocket launches in VR. Me and Sawyer, I was there with Sawyer from NASA Spaceflight, and we didn't know what to say. We were like, dude, you're the freaking man. He's like, yes, I know. I'm like, And now Sergei Krikalev kind of runs the Russian space program. Not to mention the size of the nation. I know not all areas are populated, but similar to the U.S. in developing national infrastructure systems. Yeah, Tetris is an awesome game. Yeah, that movie that they made about it is really good. Yeah, oil, that's right. Reagan used Saudi Arabia to drive the price of oil down to economically ruin the Soviet Union. Yeah, that's part of it. That was part of his strategy. But yeah, it's super, like I said, super interesting to talk about this stuff. That's so interesting to me. Just like, you know, the collapse of a superpower, the collapse of a hierarchy like that, and the balkanization that surrounded that followed it. It's super interesting part of history, to me at least. Start planning the refinery and city to support it. That's not a bad idea, Death. First thing we got to do. Well, yeah, I got the roads out here, but yeah, okay. That's not a bad idea. We need... Okay, so that construction depot doesn't have any mechanisms. Alright, so dump that thing. And we're going to need another construction depot basically right by the bridge. We're going to need a construction depot, and we're going to need a gas station here. I've been basically putting construction depots and gas stations every kilometer down the road so the vehicles can refuel. I would be, next time we play this, so the next city we start, I'd be wondering to see if we could calculate miles per gallon, or, well, kilometers per liter, because metric. Like the efficiency of the vehicles, and see if we can come up with optimized distances for certain vehicles. I think that would be a really smart thing to do. But that's for the future project. And then we'll go over here. And I'm going to set some distribution. Set distribution here to that. Plus space lasers in Buran space nuclear, like you were saying, cost a ton. I mean, yeah, King. They couldn't go toe to toe with the military-industrial complex, dude. They just couldn't. I don't blame them. You're not many things can. There's not many entities in this world that can do that. You know, like. Am I right or am I right? I'm sure we could figure out miles per gallon. Yeah, absolutely. All we got to do is see how much fuel gets burned from a truck with no load over a certain distance. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Did the U.S. play into the USSR's beliefs of shuttle being used as a weapon? The story officially, Erudite, is that we bluffed them. We said we had space lasers that could eliminate mutually assured destruction. So we had like a laser beam weapon that could just, like a magnifying glass with an ant. We could just, the missiles would come in and you could just zap the damn thing. And the Soviets panicked. They basically panicked because that means the U.S. could nuke them and there's nothing they could do about it. The U.S. supposedly bluffed our way into saying that we eliminated their what's called their retaliatory or first strike capability. And in mutually assured destruction doctrine, basically a standoff. You have your guns pointed at them and they have their guns pointed at you, and you have a way to basically make it so when they go to shoot their guns, their bullets just dissolve. So that you can just do what Harrison Ford did to the Arabian swordsman in Indiana Jones, and just take your gun out and shoot him. So they panicked. They said, we have to match the capability. I've said it once, I'll say it again. The Soviet Union looked at the space shuttle and got very confused. They said, you have the Saturn V. You guys won the space race. Why the hell would you make this? It makes no sense. Like, I've read, like, documents about, like, the Soviet engineers going, we don't know what this is. Why would you have the Saturn V, an arguably better vehicle on every front. Why would you make the space shuttle? It makes no sense. So they defaulted to that the space shuttle must be a weapon system. Truck. So if you look at Buran, BOR4, Bor 4 is a test article from the Buran program. It looks a lot like Dream Chaser, doesn't it? I forget, drummer. I'm not 100% convinced it was a bluff. Neither am I, Jonathan. Neither am I. So, see Bor 4. That's BOR4S, right? This is a hypersonic test article. It's a hypersonic re-entry vehicle. The reason why they tested Bor 4 as part of the Buran program is because what they thought the space shuttle was supposed to do is station nuclear weapons on orbit. This is what they thought. They defaulted to some type of rotisserie bomb bay. Oh, Polish. They did not, no, that's not Polish, it's Czech. They defaulted to basically that the space shuttle must be a weapon system. And inside of the payload bay, they would deploy a rotisserie bomb rack with vehicles shaped like Dream Chasers that have nukes on board instead of people. And those vehicles would re-enter, and because they have cross-range capability, you wouldn't be able to get at them. You can't shoot them down. Even with your laser, the thing can turn, so it's really hard to track. It's funny because that's kind of the meta nowadays. Hypersonic missiles they're really hard to intercept because they can turn. They have cross-range capability. Give me 1 second. Give me one moment. Cool. Sorry, I needed to shoot out a message. So they thought that they cooked this thing up. And look, man, the way I look at this is that, look, I've never heard of the space shuttle doing anything like this, ever. Like, I've never heard of the shuttle doing anything like this. But the way I look at it is, it's no secret that Buran is basically in terms of hypersonic shape, it is a dead copy of the space shuttle, minus the 3 main engines in the back. But that's for other reasons. The payload bay, the delta wing straight configuration, the nose cone, everything seems to be a dead ringer for the shuttle. And I think it's logical to think that if Buran is a dead ringer for the shuttle, that this isn't that far off from, Buran isn't that far off from the actual space shuttle. So that tells me that this is not far off from whatever we were doing at the time. I don't know what we were doing. It's just logical extrapolation, right? You can think that this might be something that we were cooking up. Now, the interesting thing is that in the 80s, NASA and the Department of Defense was working on a personal launch system, right? It was envisioned as a lifting body re-entry vehicle similar to the BOR-4 space plane. NASA tried building something like Dream Chaser that could be deployed from the shuttle's payload bay at the time and be used as a crew escape vehicle from Space Station Freedom at the time. So from there, I don't know. It's all speculation, but it's very clear that something was going down with these type of small compact re-entry vehicles. Now, once again, if they were doing something like that, I don't think we were doing something like this. But if we were, I could see that. That sounds like us. And we know exactly, Death. We know that the military had very big stakeholder expectations. What's called in systems engineering, it's called stakeholder expectations in the space shuttle's design. We know that they had a lot of say in how the shuttle worked. Trying to keep Rule 8 out of it, okay? But asking about this because it's space related. Do you have any reading on the nuke in orbit reported in the news? Yeah, okay. They think that something that they launched is a demonstrator for something that could be like GoldenEye. But if you've ever seen GoldenEye, you know that when the GoldenEye goes off, it just it zaps everything on the ground. That's not necessarily how a high altitude electromagnetic pulse weapon works. Actually, if you guys want to know, it's I can't speak to whether it's actually there or not. I mean, not to dive into this territory too much, Element, but if it's one thing that I've learned from watching a lot of press conferences and Commerce Justice Science Committee meetings and space science, a lot of space meetings that have to do with politicians. Politicians don't really understand space as well as I would like, and they're getting there, but you get the idea. With that being said, so super interesting. We figured this out during a project in the early 60s called give me 1 second. I have to find the name. Starfish Prime. This is it. Here. Check this out. So, how does this weapon work, and why is it such a big deal? I can't speak to if the Russians are actually doing it, or whether it's a prototype or what. I'm not 100% sure. What I am sure about is how these weapons work. It's kind of like GoldenEye, but it's kind of not. So, Starfish Prime was a high-altitude nuclear test that the U.S. conducted in 1962 out at Johnson Atoll. It's out in what's now the Ronald Reagan Pacific Testing Range. That's where SpaceX launched Falcon 1. Not exactly from, I think they launched from Kwajalein, but there's a group of islands out here that the U.S. fought the Japanese over in the Pacific, and they're basically all U.S. territory for the most part. There's a bunch of chains of islands out here. Hawaii being probably the biggest one, and we didn't necessarily fight the Japanese over it, but Pearl Harbor happened. That's kind of important. So, what is Starfish Prime? Starfish Prime is exactly what we're talking about. It was a high altitude nuclear explosion launched on a Thor missile. So, a Delta rocket, basically, right? It was a high-altitude mission launched on a Thor missile. And what they did, they detonated a nuke at 400 kilometers, or about 250 to 270 miles, above a point 19 miles, 31 kilometers southwest of Johnson Atoll, with a yield of 1.4 megatons or 5.9 petajoules. That's a lot of energy being released. That's if you don't understand what those mean. A lot of fire, a lot of heat gets released really, really fast. Canned heat, baby. That's what nukes do. The explosion was about 10 degrees above the horizon as seen from Hawaii. Now, here, why are these things important and why do they consider them such a threat? Here's the thing. Earth has a magnetic field around it, right? Earth has a magnetic field. What does that magnetic field do? It keeps out radiation from the sun. Keeps out solar winds from blowing our atmosphere away like what they think happened on Mars. The magnetic field is basically our shields against everything getting fried down here like a peep in a microwave, including us. Without the magnetic field, we die instantly. Not even a judgment call. This place becomes Mars like that. We don't want that. Very bad idea. Now, if you blow up a nuclear weapon near the magnetic field, which is what Starfish Prime was testing, here's what happens. The entire magnetic field immediately absorbs all of that nuclear radiation, and it spreads it around the whole planet. Nothing on the ground necessarily gets hurt. Necessarily. But it's possible that it could. Right? Because what happens is basically you light up the magnetic field with nuclear radiation like a Christmas tree, and any satellite that flies near the magnetic field will instantly get fried by the radiation given off from the nuclear weapon. The magnetic field basically acts like a conductor. Think of it like a light bulb filament. So when you blow up a nuke, the entire thing lights up like a Christmas tree. Any satellite going near the magnetic field, any satellite that skirts the magnetic field, toast instantly. Now, there are points around the world where the magnetic field does get kind of near the surface. The South Atlantic anomaly is a good example. And also there's winds and nuclear radiation. If you blow up something in the upper atmosphere, the magnetic field does absorb a lot of it, but high altitude trade winds also will blow that radiation around. And that radiation and the electromagnetic pulse that comes with it can basically fall on things, right? Kind of like a dirty bomb, but with electromagnetism. So when Starfish Prime went off, it was low on the horizon as seen from Hawaii. That's an important thing to understand because this thing fused probably about 10,000 light bulbs on Oahu. Oh yeah, you pulsed EMP over Hawaii. See how close it is? Hawaii, well, the weapon was detonated right here, right where my mouse cursor is. See how close Hawaii is? So they did rain some EMP down on Hawaii. What they also did was kill about 400 satellites. Well, maybe not 400. They killed a good amount of satellites that were on orbit at the time, including England's first satellite that they launched. Oh, whoops. Oops. But, yeah, so here, in the After Effects part, yep. Here, read I'm just going to paraphrase this part here because it explains it probably better than I could. And I just want to point out that this is right from Wikipedia, so take it for what it's worth, but most of this information is more or less right. The explosion released roughly 10 to the 29th electrons into Earth's magnetosphere. While some of the energetic beta particles followed Earth's magnetic field and illuminated the sky, like I said, it turns the magnetic field into a light bulb filament. It literally lights up the sky like a light bulb, and any satellite that gets near that dies. Yep. Other high-energy electrons became trapped and formed smaller radiation belts around the Earth. Think about that, dude. That's weird, man. The added electrons increased the intensity of the electrons within the natural inner Van Allen radiation belt by several orders of magnitude. There was much uncertainty and debate about the composition, magnitude, and potential adverse effects from trapped radiation after the detonation. The weaponeers became quite worried when 3 satellites in low Earth orbit got basically fried. Those included the Track and Transit 4B. The half-life of the energetic electrons were only a few days. At this time, it is not known that the solar or cosmic particle fluxes varied by a factor of 10 and energies exceeded 1 millielectron volt, 0.16 0.16 petajoules. In the months that followed, these man-made radiation belts eventually caused 6 or 7 more satellites to fail, as radiation damaged their solar arrays or electronics, including the first commercial relay communication satellite, Telstar, as well as the United Kingdom's first satellite, Ariel 1. Detectors on Telstar track engine and Ariel 1 were used to measure the disturbance of radiation produced by the tests. In 1963, it was reported that Starship Prime had created a belt of MeV electrons. In 1968, it was reported that some starfish electrons had remained in the atmosphere for 5 years. So, big M, mega electron volt. Yeah, sorry, I blanked on that for a second. The petajoules is what I understand, but whatever. So long story short, doing something like this lights up the magnetic field like a Christmas tree, and anything that gets near it, anything that goes in, it's going to be like getting hit with a solar flare. It's an artificial solar flare. These types of weapons are what's called a denial of service, right? You basically blow up a nuke in an area that's near the orbits of your enemy's satellites, and that's it. Game over. Now, here's the thing. If you go look up the type of orbit that the supposed demonstrator is in, that was talked about in the meetings, etc., it's in a low-ish Earth orbit, if I'm remembering correctly. Someone's going to have to correct me on that one, just to be sure. It's in a lower Earth orbit. Let me put it to you like this. The Russians aren't going to detonate. They're not going to detonate that type of weapon when the ISS crosses that type of orbital path. The ISS is in a higher, low Earth orbit, but because of its high inclination, it flies through the South Atlantic anomaly. The Russians wouldn't risk their own people. This is more about mutually assured destruction doctrine if I had to weigh in on it. I'm not saying that they wouldn't. I'm not saying that they would. What I'm saying is they wouldn't do it when their own people are aboard the space station. Very bad idea. Once again, the ISS, due to its inclined orbit at 51.6 degrees, does fly through the South Atlantic anomaly. That's part of where the magnetic field does get near the ground. And flying through that would not be good for people on board the station. Yeah. That type of denial of service could be used against missile detection satellites in a first strike scenario. Basically more Cold War nonsense, but it is what it is. It didn't deter the Russians from using an anti-satellite weapon in 2021. Well, the Russians in their space program have a different definition of risk than we do. That's the right way to say it. They have a different definition of of risk in their space program than we do, especially when it comes to defensive stuff. We did ASAT tests too, but we made sure that the ASAT test, actually we launched something from an F-15 here. It was pretty much one of the gnarliest missions an F-15 has ever flown, and it produced some of the craziest pictures ever seen. Check this picture out. An F-15 basically flew on a high ballistic arc, and when it basically got near the apogee, basically the flight ceiling of the thing, it let this thing go and launched it as a stage up into space. So the F-15 basically in certain tests acted as a first stage for this thing. This thing, that missile right there, ASAT-29, basically destroyed a satellite that was A, not being used, and B, in a decaying orbit anyway. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's not going to be debris that gets stuck on orbit because of how Newton's laws work. But we made sure that most of it would ended up in the atmosphere, which it did. India's done ASAT weapons tests. China and Russia, they've all done ASAT weapons tests, but they shot at satellites that made gigantic debris fields for the most part, especially India's. India's ASAT test was not good for low Earth orbit. They added a ton of debris because they shot at a satellite that was in a stable orbit, which is idiotic on multiple levels. But hey, whatever. Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, and I'm not defending Russia by any means. The Russians were actually, out of all the people that have done ASAT tests, China, India, Russia, us, they were probably one of the safest. They were definitely safer than China and India, that's for sure. But it still did make some debris when they did ASAT tests. Once again, you got to prove that, you got to prove you're world player on the stage or whatever. Thanks for the explanation. From what we may or not know, this isn't the type of mushroom cloud nuke hitting the ground. This is a denial of service weapon, correct? Mm-hmm. Have you ever read the modifications they had to do to accommodate the missile? Pretty gnarly. Oh yeah, that F-15 is hot rodded to hell. It's really cool, actually. But from a purely scientific point of view, I think that it's super interesting that this thing, like I said, it lights up the sky. Basically, because it's underneath the magnetic field, right? And it kind of blows up into it, right? You basically have nuclear radiation interacting with the gases in our atmosphere. It makes the northern lights. Yeah, that's why it lights the sky up. It lights up the magnetic field like a Christmas tree, which is, I'm not gonna lie, that's super freaking interesting that it does that. But once again, yeah, we have a lot more things in space than we did in 1962. A weapon like Starfish Prime being detonated right now would destroy hundreds of satellites. Starlink would be screwed. Yeah, there's not, unless they rad harden those satellites. Yeah. Starlink, gone. OneWeb, gone. Iridium, gone. ISS, gone. China's Tiangong space station, gone. It'd fry everything. Those are all in orbits that are below the magnetic field. Low Earth orbit is basically screwed if somebody does something like that. But once again, if it goes down, if it goes down, I would hope not. But if it does go down like that, yeah, that's eliminating your enemy's ability to detect first strikes. Which let's just say we hope cooler heads prevail. And now let's get back to building railroads and stuff. Benefit to Starlink is that they can just deploy new ones quickly. Yep. What's on the agenda today? I want to try and fix this debt, dudes. Would it not kill your own satellites too? That's correct. Yeah, this is why, Hando, that's why I don't think people will do it. I don't think you'll do it. It's about having, metallurgy. The steel mill's finished. It's about saying you can. It's not actually about doing it. You know what I mean? It's saying, well, I could do this. It's about it. Once again, it's about having the capability to defend yourself. That's why they call it defense. Make love and explore space. Yeah, that would be nice, but I think it's important to understand that warfare is part of humanity. It's part of every species on this planet. Fighting. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud. I agree with you. But you gotta understand that people fight. We fight. That's what we do. That's what humans do. That's something that we do just as it's natural. I'm not saying we should do it. Don't get confused. But it's important to acknowledge this and have another outlet. I think us fighting against the environment, us playing PvE versus PvP, right, versus fighting each other, has always been a peaceful solution. We can fight against the environment. We can fight against our solar system, because if we don't, we'll find something to fight. It's what humans do. War drive scientific process, absolutely, Sneaky. So does the space program. But once again, I'll contend to say the space program is PvE, not PvP. But once again, you got to understand. You have to understand that war is not something we can just get rid of. That's like getting rid of us being able to use, having to use the bathroom. It's just part of us. The circumstances in which we evolved on this planet over millions of years. War is intertwined with being human. violence is intertwined with us. We gotta understand that. You can't beat evolution. You're not going to. Don't try. Well, maybe we could. Who knows? That would be nice. Fun thing, my Starship Orbital Flight Test Patch number 3 is on the road. Tip, if you're planning on adding signals to your network today, I strongly recommend getting any track laying done sooner rather than later. Track layers can get stuck. Cool. How are you going to get out of debt? Oil. How else? Oil, baby. So I'm paving the road to get out here, and then we gotta build these bridges here. Also, I have another farm going here, and we just unlocked the steel mill too, which is clutch. Oh boy. Let's refinance again. We just gotta keep buying down our debt over time. Second farm is almost ready to go, dudes. So, yeah, alright, lay track drummer, right? Okay, I can do that. And then, is this gas station ready to go? Oh, not yet, but there it is. Fill it up, baby. Well, yeah, Raiden, exactly. That's why I don't like it when people say it's us versus them. That's really a primitive argument, but hey, what are we gonna do? What are you gonna do? The only thing I can do is sit here and drive people's want to go explore, because yeah, that's the way forward. Okay, the waste train is doing its thing. Good thing is that our dollars are doing quite good. We're making a pretty good amount of dollars, so we can spend those if we need to. Mars Attacks! Ack. You know what the funny thing is about Mars Attacks? Mars Attacks is funny to me because it's a movie where we basically tried to deny our own instincts, right? It's to deny the very thing that makes us human. We basically try to say that we don't want to fight, we want to keep trying to make peace, and these aliens are blatantly violent. And we only figure out down the road that they're, you know, the only way to deal with these people is to deal with the aliens is to fight them, which is hilarious to me. It's a very interesting message. Also, that movie's really funny. How are you making dollars? I'm exporting oil that I have right now, Jigs. Yeah, it's a pretty damn funny movie. Alright, so let's get the ruler out. And that should be good enough. What I'm trying to do is basically get that line parallel to the tracks. Alright, so we gotta move this a little bit more to... Yeah, that's it. A little more to the right. Alright. That's pretty freaking close. It's got to go to the right a little bit more. Fight those. Stop, dude. Talk ejector seats to me, man. Not money. I don't want to hear about that. Talk ejector seats to me, baby. Let's go. Have you seen anything about Helldivers 2? People keep earworming that game, Van, and it's making me want to play it. It looks like it might scratch the FPS itch that I have, that I always perpetually have. Dude, I'm telling you, man, for your own sanity, stop. You're just gonna wind yourself up. Don't do that. Trust me, dude. The moment you think you got it figured, you wrong. You should watch the trailer. It's pretty funny. Dude, it looks good. I think it looks fun. I'm not sure if that would be the right thing, like the best thing for the stream. I'm old. I need my cardio for the day. This is not a good way to go about doing that, dude. This is not a good way. Get a treadmill, man. Damn. Don't wind yourself up like this. You're gonna give yourself a panic attack. Don't do that. Don't do that, buddy. I'm telling you as your friend, man. Don't do that. This is not a good way to wind yourself up. Alright, I'm grading out the bed for my tracks here. Alright. Chill for a second, man, please. Don't do this to yourself. It's killing me. Don't put yourself through this, man. You're gonna go crazy. Don't do it. Removing dirt or insectoids are coming to kill us all. I thought of it because all the war talk. The discourse around Helldivers has been fun. We fight for Super Earth. Well, of course. Super Earth sounds good. Couldn't get the whole grade on the track there because bulldozers. All right, where do we want that train bridge to be? Probably would be a good idea to get the train bridge to be in the same spot. Because this is the shortest point of crossing right here, so let's do something like this. See if we can get her right away teed up for the train here. Because I'm thinking with this much oil, it's good to have the highway, but exporting it via truck is probably not the best idea. The train can move bulk oil a lot more efficiently. Like a lot more efficiently. In fact, I don't care about them. I care about you, dude. I mean, I do care about them too, but I don't want you to work yourself up, man. I'm not timing you out because you're just being a nuisance. No, we're doing that so you don't wind yourself up. Don't do it, dude. Talk shooter quotes to me, man. I'm not trying to wind people up. You know? Care about you, buddy. Did someone say nuisance? Good morning. Yes, people who break the spaghetti are nuisance. We need to eliminate them. Any news on IM1? IM1 seems to be doing just fine. Intuitive has actually been fairly good at keeping us in the loop regarding that. Hey! Someone gifted you 12 months, dude. That's cool. Thanks, kind stranger. That's 12 months. That's a huge buy-in. Thank you very much, whoever did that. I appreciate it. Alright, flatten that out. See? Like it was never even there. How's it going? It's going good, Damon. How are you, man? EJ's in debt up to the eyeball. Dude, I'm buying it down slowly. We were at 2.9 and now I'm at 2.8. I'm buying it down slowly. Very slowly, but we are. I'm going to try to see if I could change course by 1991. I think after 1991, I'm probably going to start a new save. Taking care of some chores? Right on, man. I'm going to move the bulldozers back down here to this depot so we can finish this grade right here. Apparently Jack Black is going to be voicing Claptrap. Oh, cool. Nice. Actually, I'm going to keep one bulldozer here so we can keep terraforming. Hey, I said go back. Hey, get back there. Turn around. What are you doing? You Stalinek? Did you hear about the explosion at the cheese factory? Debris was everywhere. I'm sure you swish I would stop with these puns, but you must think I'm a monster because they are cheesy puns. Now that's the Pythos I want to see. There we go. Now we're talking, buddy. Also, frick you, don't do that again. Also, no. Also, please stop. That is nice pun. Face the wall, please. Okay, cool. How's the farm doing? Oh, nice. They finished the grain silo. Excellent. High priority that, the substation. How about the farm? 98? PJ Republic, wall faces you. Remember, Arctic, when you're in room, there are 4 walls that you could face. It's up to you which one you choose. Poignant piece of advice. Happy time. Look, look. Happy time. Happy times. Great success. Spaghetti. Very nice. High five. You could put text on the buildings, so I put messages like, "We will not break the spaghetti off. Do not face door, makes viewer interaction awkward." No, you have to face wall, not face door or window. Face wall. Wall stop bullet. Window and door do not. This is not rocket science, friend. Happy Time should have faced a building called Sad Moments. Sad moment. Happy Time. Fine. Great success. Sad moment. Happy times. Great success. So Acura is Honda's luxury line in the US. You could say that Honda did not have the integrity to be accurate with their name. You're lucky I like you. You're friggin' lucky that I like you. Because I will slap you if I didn't. Hey stream, how are you doing today? Also need a building called Face the Wall, please. No, we do not compel people to face the wall. We just do it. It's not compulsory, it's mandatory. Differences. So we don't need to do that. It's just giving information. Also, see, we have prison. You know, we should call the prison Face the Wall, please. Prison. Yes, they do, Jigsy. Well, the population grows. I'm going to assume that that's what's going on. Happy retirement facility also. Alright, we gotta buy equipment for this thing. Let's see. I forget what the ratio is, so let's buy 2 of those. Give me 2 of those. Crap, that's the only thing we can buy. Oh boy. We're gonna need something to haul. This one has a bunch of Mack trucks. This game is alternate history without Stalin? No, we have Stalin. Plenty of liquid Stalin comes out of this thing. See, I even named it. The Stalin discharge. See, look. There's 48% polluted Stalin. 1% fill. This is Lake Stalin. This is where we put all of the liquid Stalin. See this water tower? Khrushchev's tears. Very nice. And see, we even have monuments. In Spaghett's native language, there is not word for it, but the rough translation would be a walking Ebola virus in human form. Yes. That's what that guy is. He is the monument to the walking STD. I know Ebola is not an STD, but it was funny, okay? Set minimal fertility to 30. And then plant. Bonk bonk. Honk. Hey, can anybody tell me why the track layers aren't coming out and building this? Because I told them to do it, and the construction office is assigned, and we have the resources at the construction office, but it's not building it. Unless, well, how many prefab panels do we need? 10 ton. Oh, we don't have the prefabs. No, the track path isn't blocked. No, not by any means. Oh, that's good. That's just what we need. A freaking earthquake. The earthquake tried to break the spaghetti, but will not happen. That didn't do anything. Sad moment. Sad moment. Nobody died. Happy times. Actually, are we good? Like... Remember, duck and cover. Someone had a bad Stalin. Yes, that's what made ground rumble. Check your pipes. I think we're good. Yeah, everything looks good. 6.0. I love how all the earthquakes have only been right here. We've never had earthquakes anywhere else on the map. Anywhere. Just right in the population center. Powerful IBS, Irritated Bowel Stalin. Yes, that's what it stands for. I'm sorry. Come on, baby. I always raise the terrain for the tracks. Trains move faster when the tracks are level. So I don't want this thing going up and down hills, etc., etc. I don't want any of that. But if you have like a viaduct, kind of like this, you're definitely going to want bridges for drainage purposes, because in real life, and I'm doing this because it's me and I like doing it. We should probably have one for the road as well, just on a side note. Drainage, natural drainage. There would be a bridge here so the water can flow, because if you have something like this and the downhill is this way and you don't give water a place to go, then your railroad berm is acting like a dam, and you do not want that. That's a really good way to not have train tracks there anymore, because water, there's this thing, water can get mad. And when water gets mad, stuff usually breaks. Like, usually, that's what happens. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to demolish this stretch of road here, just for a moment. And I'm going to do the same thing with the road, because it's cool. Because I want to. Put the drainage. Now, I don't think this matters in workers. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But, you know, it's an aesthetic touch to make it look right. We want to make it look right. Right? Or left? Left? Up, down, left, right, A, B, A, B. So we will make a place for water to go. And then we're going to need a paved road to there, paved road to there, and then, yeah, demolish the entire cell. You want to keep the cells with this long, because if you don't keep the cells long, I found that with longer cells, you don't need people. Like, for a short bit of road, the paver and the roller won't come out. It won't come out, and it'll try to use people to pave the road, and that I find that takes a little bit longer, but you know. Water, face the ditch, please. That's wonderful. Face the wall. It's only if the segments are really short. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, these are kilometer segments basically, except for the bridge right here. That's 1,000 meters from that one over there. Coffee. In terms of the bridge, we just need a concrete bridge. And then go in here, go to road destruction, like that. High priority, high priority, higher priority. Make sure that's assigned to a construction office. Yeah, Jonathan, exactly. And you know what we'll do? Just so I can keep working with the bulldozers and stuff, I'm gonna smooth out a ditch right here. That was weird. That's just so stuff can keep moving down the road and we can keep paving this other stuff. There we go. Now, does that give me the railroad right away? Yes, it does. Cool. And now we build a train bridge over here. Wasn't it 500? I for this segment of road, I made it 1,000, Raiden. I'm pretty sure. The next city will have much more standardization here in terms of road and design and everything. Yeah, these are 1,000, pretty much on the dot. Yeah, see, that's where that is, 1,000. And then if we go from this point to here, yeah, 1,000 on the dot. If you hold control, it'll fine tune it. Oh, that's good to know. I'm serious. That's good. Okay, drummer, you said lay down the tracks, so that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, I screwed up with the measuring tool. I needed this line here. So we can make the tracks straight. Basically to here. There's really no good way of doing this unless you're snapping to the grid, but you don't always have that luxury, so. Okay, we gotta move it to the left a little bit. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. Don't call me Shirley. A little bit more this way. Just a little bit. Is that point touching? That's pretty damn close. I think we can go from there. So give me the railroad track. And we don't want to make crazy long segments, so we'll have to break this up eventually. What kind of bridge? I did truss bridges. Ooh, I like that one. Nice. Trust your bridges. It's not straight. The bridge is a little crooked. Just a smidge. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't get the bridge exactly right. That's where 1 degree left azimuth starts, and that's where 1 degree right azimuth starts, right? Okay. Right there. That's straight? Yeah, more or less. Look down the line as you place it. Yeah, I can't really get the... I can't really get it close enough. So that's 1 degree off that way. That's 1 degree off that way. So right there. Let's look down the line. it's still a little bit this way. Just a smidge. My eyeball, my Mark 1 eyeball is not working. That's good. Yeah, there's no directional snap here with this, and that's like, I don't like that, but 1 degree starts there. One degree starts at that red line, then 1 degree this way. That's pretty dead straight. Alright, commit it. I'm gonna commit the rail, and then what I'm gonna do is just tell it to suspend construction on this so it doesn't make it. When are you gonna upgrade to the Mark 2.5? Wait, you can do that? Why didn't anybody tell me this? This is wooden track. See, 78 tons of boards. Yep, we used wooden ones. Alright, well, that's not a big deal. All I gotta do is just snap the concrete track, like that. And then take this and delete it. And then get me the concrete. Just reconnect concrete there. What about you? That one's right. That one's right. That one's right. As long as I gave it a point to snap to, we're fine. You should be able to drag it over it. Well, what I did works. Right? Last chance to buy a Mercedes 305. Mars is Mercedes-Benz, I'm pretty sure, in this game. If I'm understanding this right. That's a 260 meter length, 5-degree turn. I gotta modify some of the terrain here. Very nice. Giesen's around. Fire extinguish. Oh. Well, that's good. But my staircase caught on fire. Oh, that's good. You know. Stairs. Trains don't really like going left and right. At speed, no. Which is why we might, you know... This was a huge radius corner, and that one doesn't have the same radius. So, you know what we'll do? We'll commit it, and then go in here, and demolish that segment, Demolish that segment, and we'll see if we can get a radius that matches. Bring in the lip here. You don't want it changing elevation in a corner. That's a really good way to lose a lot of speed as a train. I think the other one was 600, but how does that look? Oh yeah, that looks good. Let's do that way. Perfect. And then I'll leave this extra terrain here. Actually, we should widen it a little ways on both sides to give two-way right away. Actually, we don't need to widen it too much on this side. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with kerosene. Wait. Do we want to do that? Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. You know what? I got an idea for building bridges in the future. I think it would be cool to put another bridge right here, right? Because water, you don't want water to drain here because it'll go this way. And the water doesn't want to flow that way and go that way. Like, don't get me wrong, you don't have to build it this way. I'm doing it because I like building with a realistic aesthetic. You do not need to do this. So check this out. I know that piece of track is perfectly straight. If I demolished it and tried to build a bridge, it'd be all crooked, right? So how about we go in here and we delete a little bit of the segment, like that. It's still perfectly straight, right? We know it's straight because it was one straight piece of track, right? And then we go in here like this, and we make a gap, right? And now, if I go to make a railroad bridge, like a truss bridge, I know that bridge is perfect. That bridge's perfect. It's perfectly straight. Let's make it match the other one. The other one is a truss bridge too. So commit it. And now I know that that's perfect. I know that is perfectly straight. So you use the measuring tool to get your right of way. Build one long big. So build one big long segment, and then if you want to put a bridge in, you cut it up. That's how you do this. It's a Unix system. I know this. Now, once again, I don't think there's any flooding in this game. Pretty sure there isn't. I just like building realistic. I think it makes it look nice. Out of money? Yeah. Just keep buying it down. Now we can't afford to do that here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build rail on the other side, and I don't want the bridge to be that long, so demo it. now, what type of bridge should we do here? Wait, what's the speed on those bridges? Hold on. Speed is 140, speed is 120. 135. That's the quickest. Yeah, this one probably isn't gonna end up being as straight as possible, right? It's gonna be close, but yeah, unless I wanted to flatten the terrain, put a straight piece of track, and then unflatten the terrain, yeah, doing that probably isn't a good idea. Yeah, I'm putting my fingers up on the monitor to center it. I'm making 1 degree azimuth left, 1 degree azimuth right, and then in between my fingers, put it right in the center. Sorry, make a gun sight. Reminds me back in the day playing Counter-Strike. When I played, you know, if you played Counter-Strike 1.6, the scout doesn't have any crosshairs, so what you do is you have a CRT monitor, you take a dry erase marker, and you draw your crosshairs on your monitor, and then you could just go around no-scoping people all day. Firefly. Fly the Lightning second stage mishap notes. The investigation determined the mishap was due to an error in guidance navigation and control software algorithm that prevented the system from sending the necessary pulse commands to the RCS. Thrusters ahead of the stage 2 engine relight. Software was to blame for Alpha Flight 4. Yeah, Erudite, just from what I can see, something wasn't right about that flight, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm trying to put in the right of way for the second bit of tracks here. Just so I know. All right. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. Looking good. Booster 10's on the move. They did take it off the stand, Jim, didn't they? Okay. Cool. All right. So now let's get out here, because we should have a bulldozer here, and let's take the rest of those bulldozers and bring them down to this construction depot. What else do we need out here? We can source the water locally, which means we can source the drainage more or less locally. Right? Currently on the road, just exited the entrance of the launch site. Hey David, what's going on? Is the brick factory up? Let me take a look. It's being built. I prioritized farm construction first because I was trying to get us in for the harvest in time, but that didn't happen. The other thing is that we need hauling trucks here. There's no... You can't buy the hauler Mack trucks anymore unless we can go in here in the used category and wear and tear 38%. We could buy one of those to start. I like these trucks because they carry a lot of grain. Booster 10 is heading back to Mega Bay 1. Will be placed on one of the stands in there. Wow. Thomas, for full stack deintegration, dude, those wet dress rehearsals probably yielded results that they did not want. Right? I'm not saying something went wrong. Yeah, but that's definitely not what they wanted to happen. Whatever happened is definitely not good. Not great. Not great, Bob. The proper gas station. Yeah. Power? Yeah, we're gonna need power out here, right? Yeah, something's broken. Agreed. %65% happiness. Starving. Uh-oh. Okay, food. No food down on this end. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Switch that up to 90%, and that'll close. Oh, no, no. What I did is not going to fix that, is it? The distribution is doing good, it's just with the food. We need more food over there. Okay, so let's rename this line. Food distribution line. Save it. It's going to load up 100% of crops at the Spaghetti Farms. We don't need, or load up 100% of food, drop 50% at the bodega, the Grand Bodega, which is that structure, and then drop the other 50 over here. Good. Change the storage limit. Yeah. Well, we got food. Whatever it did, it dropped food there. So, hang on. Let me go into... Oh, there's a dedicated truck for it. I already have it doing that. Alright, hold on. Let's... They're not delivering... He's not delivering the food fast enough. Hang on. I gotta put this truck on the depot here, and then we can erase it from the line and go to the Spaghetti food distribution line. Oh crap, where was the truck that I just selected? There we go. Cool. That was the truck. I found it, luckily. And leave that one just for the small thing. They'll drop 50-50. There's no bodega, but bottega in your town. Oh, yeah? How many Saturn V's rutted during test flights? The Saturn V had Apollo 4 and Apollo 6 Pythos, which were the test flights. There's a lot of different things that went wrong with Apollo 4, so much that it warranted a second test flight. I guess the right way to say this would be, like a shorter way of saying it would be that the thing almost shook itself to pieces. There's pictures out there of parts of the vehicle stage adapter and the CSM falling apart on the way up. Saturn V's engines were so ridiculously powerful, and the pogo oscillations were inducing vibrations onto the vehicle that almost shook it apart. Apollo 6 almost failed. It was close. Off nominal, no ruds. Yeah, exactly. Here. Check it out. The front almost fell off. Look, pieces of the vehicle staging adapter are coming apart at the seams. See what I'm talking about? See that piece and that piece? Those are pieces to the stage adapter. Yeah, Apollo 6 almost rutted. It was close. It almost... Yeah, see, panels came off. There were holes in the vehicle staging adapter because the vibrations fatigued the aluminum in the vehicle stage adapter so much that, yeah, they shattered. I'm talking this thing right here. See this, the vehicle staging adapter, where the CSM would basically carry its payload, the LEM or whatever, in there. That's where the LEM would go, or, you know, Skylab components or whatever. Didn't they adjust the thrust curve to calm that down a little bit? Well, amongst other things, the big fix to fix all those crazy vibrations was to put fins inside of the build fins into the injector plate on the F1. See these fins right here? What's the right way to say it? I'm trying to explain it in like non-crazy rocket terms. These fins basically work like a rudder, or like a canard, I guess. Not a canard like on a fighter plane, right? They don't move, but they basically force the explosion down. That's inside of this combustion chamber. They force it down instead of sideways. What was going on in here? Because see the two holes right here? Each pair, you see how they're kind of in pairs? Each pair is liquid fuel and oxidizer. And those pairs are kind of, it's hard to tell, but they're kind of pointed in, like this almost. So when the liquid oxygen and the kerosene kind of, you know, go through them, they depressurize out in a cone, and that they basically spray them into each other to get good atomization before combustion, right? So because they were kind of spraying them sideways, the explosion was kind of not really uniform inside of there. It was kind of, think like if you took a bunch of pop rocks and threw them at the ground, just tick, 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 like it was blowing up not uniformly, I guess is the right way to say it. Long story short, they were getting cavitation due to oscillating chamber pressure inside of this because of the flow of the injector plate. That's the really non-nerd way of saying it, except for that little last bit that I said. Long story short, these things make the explosion go down and not sideways. Yeah. Sorry, Carlos. Here, I'll go back to playing, dude. Yeah, make the explosion go down. For rocket fuel take, why do some rockets like Atlas have rectangular stringers whereas other have triangular? Evolution of technology, Sea Kraken. Atlas V was one of the first rockets that was designed like fully with computers, and the computer models was that an ISO grid, so triangles would be the strongest. But when you have billet, it doesn't. When you're milling your stringers out of billet aluminum, an ortho grid, so squares are just as strong. Yeah. Yeah, weird, huh? November 1987. Polius is launched by now. Energia Polius. Did the Saturn have stringers? Internally welded stringers, Sea Kraken, yes. How much V2 is in the NASA space program? Is it, or is it kind of only based off of it? The aggregate 4. I don't like calling it the V2 because V2, Vengeance Weapon 2 is what Hitler called it, and, well, you know, I don't like that guy. The guy that designed the rocket, von Braun, he called it the aggregate 4, so I call it the A4 because I don't like the other guy's name. The other guy's name is dumb. Aggregate 4 is way better, right? So how much of that has to do with NASA? So von Braun had designs with the aggregate series of rockets. He had designs, basically, you could see proto versions of the Saturn V with it. The aggregate was a family of rockets that were developed for Nazi Germany. Like, there was the A1, the A2, the A3. The A4 is the one that Hitler called the V2, but I don't call it that because frick that guy. And then they had cruise missile variants, and then the A8, A9, and A10. The A8 is the one you want to pay attention to, because none of this other crap got designed. This one did, though. The A8 got designed in the United States for the Army Ballistic Missile Agency. It's the Redstone missile. Redstone. So, Redstone was an Army intermediate range ballistic missile. And from the Redstone, you got Juno, Jupiter, and Jupiter C. Rockets that were used to launch the first Americans into space, not into orbit, into space. The first satellite, Explorer 1, amongst other things. So, Carlos, from there, the Redstone rocket, like I said, Jupiter, Juno C, or Juno and Jupiter C, and then from there, Saturn. The Saturn 1. So, interesting thing, von Braun was basically playing Kerbal Space Program at this point, dude. Because if you look at a Saturn 1, particularly a Saturn 1 first stage, it's a bunch of Jupiter C and Juno. It's a bunch of it's a bunch of Redstone and Juno rocket stages all strapped together around a Juno center core. Yeah, this thing, the Saturn 1 can directly trace its roots to the aggregate rocket. Directly. Now, the Saturn 1 led to the Saturn 5, right? And more notably the Saturn 1B. But that's where the design starts to really diverge. Now, the stuff that was learned from the Saturn 1 program in the early parts of the Apollo program did lead to the Saturn 5 getting made. And the Saturn 5 is basically the ultimate, it goes back to von Braun's like aggregate 10 and aggregate 12 rockets. That original thing that I showed you didn't show the aggregate 10. But von Braun basically was coming up with ideas for multi-staging in the late 40s, in his time at Nazi Germany, and the late 40s working for the Army Ballistic Missile Agency, and into the 50s. Von Braun famously did a segment on the Disney Channel talking about multi-stage rockets for exploration. And if you look, that's basically the aggregate 10 rocket, but with a second stage and a third stage shuttle on top of it. He did a segment on the Disney Channel with Walt Disney about doing STEM outreach. Now, you could say whatever you want about von Braun, but him doing STEM outreach is pretty damn good. I think if anybody's going to talk about space exploration in the 50s, he was probably the guy to talk to. Dude, the guy dreamt up the Saturn V in the 40s, and the Apollo program and the circumstances for it allowed him to actually end up doing that. But you got to remember, you know, I know what people could say, oh, he was in the SS, yeah, that's not good. That behavior should not be condoned in any way, shape, or form, right? Not at all. But also, Von Braun was a good designer. He was a pretty damn good designer, but his project management skills are the reason why the Apollo program succeeded. You know, the Saturn V ended up being designed by contractors. It wasn't designed by him. He just came up with the idea. But I've talked, this isn't my opinion. I've talked to guys that worked with him on the Redstone program, on the Jupiter program, the Juno program, and into the Saturn I program. I've spoken with people that worked with the guy. His ability to manage projects was second to nobody. That's why in the space program he served such a pivotal role, because he basically wrote the book on how to manage a space program and run it. Basically what I'm trying to tell you is that the guy's really good at Kerbal Space Program. Yeah, he would have been disgustingly good at KSP. Yeah, it's a shame about the other stuff, but the entirety of human history is good and bad. You know, everybody is capable of evil, and that's, once again, Evie, I think that's, it goes back to what we were talking about before. I think that's a poignant thing to understand. But, I don't know, that's my opinion. What is an opinion is his ability to manage projects. The Apollo program would not have succeeded if it wasn't for him. Not necessarily his designs, because, like I said, by the time the Saturn V rolled around, it had nothing to do with the aggregate rocket. Like, they're completely different propulsion systems, completely different mechanisms, completely different form of guidance system and control. Like, there's no traceable roots. Think about it like a Mustang, a Ford Mustang that comes, like a 2024 Ford Mustang. It has nothing to do with a 1967 Mustang. Not even close. They're not the same vehicle at all. They're the same vehicle in name. That's it. They're part of the same family of vehicles, but they are not the same thing. Not even close. That's correct, Bandit. Yeah, I would say that that's probably the right thing, but I don't think it's right to be fair to people that believe in eugenics. I don't think we deserve to be fair to them. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good idea. But I do understand what you're saying. Okay, there's a segment right there. You know what I'm gonna do? Just to make sure that this is perfectly straight, I'm gonna demolish those segments. And we know that the bridge right there is straight. And concrete. Make this go all the way back and connect in there. Perfect. And I like to have these things build in 500 meter segments for the... Actually, should we make the tracks a kilometer? Yeah, for trains it's probably better for 100 meter, 1 kilometer blocks. That's probably a good idea. Oh, but we need to give relief for said block because... Okay. Alright, hold on 1 second. That's not exactly right. I gotta measure 60 meters on this block right here. Coming off the tracks. I'll tell you why in a second. Actually, you know what? Let's give 100 meter relief off there. That's a good idea. Now, I'll tell you why I'm doing this all in a second. Because eventually I think we're going to need the throughput for double tracks here. So 100 meter segment, and then I need a 60 meter segment here. Because we want to put crisscrosses in. The reason why I want to put crisscrosses in is because we're making blocks of track for signaling purposes later. If it's one thing that I learned from Satisfactory, this is probably a good idea to do this. Flip the measuring tool back on. And from there, let's measure 100, or 1,000 meters. Now I need, at 100 meters, I need a 60-meter segment right there. And then we can go back and do a 1-kilometer segment here. And then make a 60-meter block right there. Perfect.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Kelly. What's going on? 60 months. Wow, it's been a while. Hope the past couple of months have been good for you. I just returned from Florida with an FAA aircraft dispatcher certificate. Now it's time to look for jobs. Congratulations, man. That's really cool. That's awesome. Alright, now we make this, lock this track in to right there. And then right here, build another crisscross. We'll tell the commit here, right? But I want one line made first. So we will suspend construction there, suspend construction there. And the crisscrosses should make it so the trains don't try to, logically speaking, the trains don't try to build the other tracks. I want one right away first. NSF is online. Oh, yeah, we have a Starlink. Or no, not Starlink. We have Maripudi. Maripudi 2. SpaceX is launching a satellite today. Forgot all about that. Alright, so the next signal block should be right about here. So let's go in here like this, build out concrete tracks at 60, right? And then build out a switch block this way. And then, once again, we'll build the bridge. Just like that. And we could tell this stuff to commit. It's not a big deal. It won't, logically, it won't build it. HTS113BT. That's right, Q. Anyway, Kelly, congratulations, dude. And you got your worm, man. Hey, dude, I appreciate you being subbed this whole time. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate it a lot. But, dude, congratulations. An FAA dispatcher certificate, man. That's cool. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a short-term lull for the job market for dispatchers, but there's still a fair amount of jobs.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Linux. Not as long as the previous one, but still a good amount of time. 43 months, dude. Support is support is support is support, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anyway, Linux, how's the mod father doing?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Quarantine with the 13. Thanks, man. On vacation this week? Oh, nice. Well, enjoy it, man. I'm wondering if we can make a switch block around a curve, just out of curiosity. And maybe even some perseverance and ingenuity as well. Mars. Let's get a 60-meter segment right there. And then build out the bridge. Oh yeah, you can make blocks that go around corners. Oh, dude, I love the railroad building in this game. The track builder is pretty freaking good, dudes. Pretty good. Why are you trying to do the road so perfectly? So, New Fire, that's a good question. So if you notice, every kilometer I'm putting a crisscross. Why am I doing that? Well, okay. Think about, trains are very, and this is why, like, a lot of people really dig trains. Trains are logical. Trains are, I'm not gonna say that trains, the way trains move around on tracks is like binary, but it's pretty close. There's either a train on the track or there isn't. And that information about how trains move around on tracks can be extrapolated into logic. That extrapolated logic from trains being on tracks and not on tracks are how signals work. Believe it or not, train logic can be, modern computing can trace its roots back to train logic, because trains came way before the computer. In fact, hacking was invented by model railroaders, if you really want to know. Yeah, I said that right. You didn't hear that wrong. The modern protocol for hacking into something was invented by a model railroading club, because they were trying to get their trains to run, their model trains to run more efficiently. I'm dead serious about that. Now, what does that have to do with this? Well, kilometer blocks. At each one of these, we're going to have to put signals, and those signals are going to denote logic. Is there a train on this track, or is there a train on this track? If I'm understanding how the logic in the game works. Where's the train? If there's a train on this track, well, you have a crisscross here. If you have a train coming down this track, and it sees that there's something on the block, it will switch. The train logic is there, so trains don't hit each other. Yeah. So what's a bug called in railroading? That. I don't want to keep showing this. That's dead people. Sorry about that. Yeah, can you see why train logic needs to be important? And I'm not 100% sure if trains crash into each other in this game. More likely it'll just cause a traffic jam looking at the truck logic. But also, that's the reason why I'm being careful about this. I'm not entirely sure how the signaling system works in this game, but what I can be sure is that the train logic has to be there. So setting up these blocks for signals is probably a good idea. For instance, if this was only one track, like if it was one track and not two, which it's going to be for a little while, it's probably a good idea to only run one train on that track, right? You don't want to send a train down the track this way and then send a train coming down the track the opposite direction, because when they get to each other, what are you going to do? They stop or they crash into each other. And now one train has to back up off the track. That's not efficient. It's logic. I'm telling you, it's binary like a computer. Railroad logic, modern computing can pretty much, not pretty much, it can trace its roots back to railroad logistics. Absolutely. And I know that hacking can for a fact. Weird, right? So, New Fire, why am I engineering this to this spec? Because I don't want my trains to crash into each other. Logistics is a big part of this game. Being able to move resources around is a big part of this game. Throughput is a big part of this game. You have to be able to move this stuff down the tracks efficiently. If you don't, your economy can come crashing down. So, I'm taking my time and I'm engineering this right, because doing it now is going to prevent struggle down the road. Half of New York's subway still works on electromechanical relays controlling the interlockings. Thomas, you were looking... Train logic was developed one bloody accident at a time, like most other aspects of human technological advancement. Yep. Thomas, so I was looking at Bechtel's ML2 Mobile Launcher 2 page and found this in their image gallery. The title of it is Module 4 Primary Steel Sits Underneath Lightning Protection System at KSC. Metadata shows it was taken on January 30th. Interesting. ENIAC was vacuum tube based. Yeah, early computers using vacuum tube transistors. Linux, can you believe vacuum tubes are transistors in a vacuum for better conductivity, right? Oh god. Oh god. I might have to give my nerd card in Linux. Transistors were invented in 1947 at AT&T Labs. But a vacuum tube is a... Oh god. Oh god. Vacuum tube, electron tube, valve, or tube, North America, is a device that controls electrical current flow in a high vacuum between electrodes to which an electric potential difference has been applied. Yeah, okay. It's not a transistor. It's the same idea, though. Yeah, okay. I just stressed myself out there for a second. Because tubes are not transistors. They're different. That's a different thing. I almost had to give my nerd card back for a second. Cool. By the way, on a complete unrelated note, am I the only one who believes Alexei Pajitnov, the inventor of Tetris, was low-key one of the world's great geniuses? Tetris is an amazingly good game. Like, and, you know, you can say whatever you want, but the guy, it's no secret that the code for that game is, like, solid, dude. It took someone 30 years to break Tetris. That's wild to me, to be honest with you. That's pretty damn well-made code, if you ask me my opinion. I mean, where's my next signal block gonna be? Right there. Alright, now we have the logic systems in place to build this stuff out. And I have basically the logic set up to build one side of the track first. Now we gotta figure out the area around the oil. Maybe we'll do that when this is all finished. Man, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to get this done before 91, dudes. We're gonna have to take a gigantic honking loan out. Like, on top of the ones that we already have. Just one more loan, bro. Please, bro, just one more loan. See, I have my positions for all the oil derricks, but I have to design the plumbing system and stuff. I mean, maybe we could... See, this is where I'm at with this game. I'm not sure if we should... If you should just design everything at once. You know, I'm starting to think just design it all, right? Design everything. And then just, like, once one building gets done, just slowly build the whole thing out. Is the brick factory done? 5-year plan, comrade. Actually, the brick factory is pretty close to being finished. It just needs some steel and some boards. We only have 4 years for a 5-year plan. Getting brick exports would be huge. No doubt. But the farm is up, which is good. And we're still gonna need vehicles here. Let me see if there's another used truck that we can buy. No. No haulers. Alright. We have until December 26, 1991 if you want to get technical. So, 88, 89, 90, 91. We got 4 years. Almost exactly. Alright. Close the measurement tool out. We have all that committed, right? Cool. Oh, a research program finished. I don't know which one it was, though. Let's go back over to the spaghetti. Metallurgy finished. Fire prevention finished over there. What about you? Ooh, vaccines. Endurance, promoting resilience against cold interiors. You know, that might help. Yeah, David, that's one thing I'm going to implement with the next build. Stockpiles to shorten the distance, because the gasoline is what did me in. The fact that a truck to get gravel has to drive all the way over there and then all the way back is killing me. We're gonna have to do gravel distribution on top of that, and I'll have to take that into account when we build stuff. Hey Stavlin, 54 months. What song would they have used in '87 to teach CPR? I don't know. Using a song to teach CPR was probably seen as very bourgeois. Do vaccine development, and then... Let's take a look here. Whoosh. Yeah, probably. They weren't staying alive, that's for sure. Anything by Meatloaf. Broadcasting probably would be a good idea. Or, yeah, geological facility is probably a good one. Let's do that. And then over here, education for loyal, tourism analysis, air traffic study, fire prevention for industry, civil infrastructure. Let's do fire prevention for residential. Out of money. All right. 4.7 in the hole. Okay, there we go. All right, that's loaned money, but it is what it be. Okay, so let's go over here. I'm gonna need to buy an RTS here. Let's buy a GM bus. Real-time strategy. Tell the bus to go to that construction depot, and then I need to go NATO railroad labor, and then we need to select that bus. Where are you? Hello? Where'd the bus go? There you are. Select that bus. Use NATO labor to help build it on top of the labor that we have. Yeah. That's fine. In fact, buy 2 buses. Where are you, Mr. Bus? Hello? Lone cannon. Oh no. Cancel the depot stop. Cancel the depot stop. Stop production. Heating problem. Building is without power supply? What happened over here? No workers. That's alright. I just bought Hearts of Iron 4 after watching it on your channel. I'm about to jump into the deep end. Do it, man. That's the snow that's killing us. There is no heating problems here. It's just electrical. Oh, shoot. Well, they're gonna be pissed. They're gonna be pissed about that. Yeah, Sneaky, that's the other reason why I'm breaking it up into blocks, dude. But yes, you're right. I'm thinking putting one on the other end might not be the worst idea. But my gut's telling me place a railroad. Well, maybe not a depot, dude, right? Like maybe a construction office. No, I don't want to do that. Getting the logistics, well, we shouldn't be lazy here. We got the cash to do it. What do you think? If we do that, we're going to have to set up the logistics for the construction depot. Not a problem. Not a big deal. But then we have to set up a distribution office for that. And that could be... the unplowed roads, King, shut the power plant off for a second. And the temperature went down, so it's alright. Everything's, yeah, they're getting warm. They're also eating the meat too fast. I need to work on my meat logistics, I guess. I think it's particularly from this one. The meat goes bad stored in the market. Oh. I don't think that's the problem. I think they're eating it, to be honest. Oh boy. It never rains but it pours. Who do you think I'm after? Cincinnati the Kid, Billy the Kid? One rain's as good as another. It never rains but it pours. To be honest, I do. Okay, Sneaky, what do you think, dude? I'm actually asking. I'm not sure. It might, because of the supply chains, it might be better to just set it up the way it's set up, you know what I mean? I never put a cross piece there. For now, keep an eye on the track builders when you send them out again. Okay. The other thing we have to do is start procuring more equipment for this thing. I need trucks that can haul. Because when the harvest pops through for this, right, it's going to be kind of tough with one truck that's just mildly a little broken. Maybe see if we can get another covered truck from over here. There's a refrigerated cistern, dumper, and a bunch of locomotives. Why are prefabs not getting to the track builder? That's what I'm trying to figure out, dude. I must have checked off a box or something. Real construction office. He's going to get steel now. Are you telling it to load? How did we build? How did this must have happened when I changed the distribution from Ilios back to Everyu. Everyu. That must have I must not have checked it. Because I was wondering why they weren't building anything. They stopped after they completed this track. They stopped completely. I was very, very confused. All right, resume construction there. Resume construction there. And it'll start building them out. Yeah, we must have had some stored. That's got to be it, dude. Okay, cool. The other thing that I'm gonna have to do for the grain train, we need another grain train here because this is gonna start getting loaded down with crops. But also, yeah, back to this real quick. We need vehicles that can haul. How much can that Mack truck haul? 13. How much do the semi trucks? How much do these W50? Actually, screw that. Let's give me a Kamaz. The Kamaz semi, a 4150. They can hold 13. The Mack can do 13. Good. Let's We're gonna need, coupled with the Mack truck, we need 5. I think that would do it. There we go. So we got tractors, we got combis, and we have loading trucks. Okay, cool. This factory is... We might need to set something for fertilizer here. Probably wouldn't be the stupidest idea. And it did the pipe. Most excellent. Half the loan is gone. I paid off one of the loans with half mutter. We started with 1.1, so we're 200 in the hole. So the highest priority is finish that track first, and then we'll just send them on this stuff. Is the bricks factory done? Almost. And this siding also has to get made for that as well. Alright. I opened up a logic gate to send a track builder down here to finish it. And then also the rail depot too. Continue construction. There we go. Cool. So a track builder will be down here building all this stuff out. I don't know why it's not repairing that truck. I think it's because it's been more than a year. That export should be a greater priority in the short term than oil IMO. Well, I mean, we built it. We built the stupid thing. What I'm learning with this game is that you need to maximize everything. Maximize every export. To the point where you become self-sufficient. That's what I'm going to do in the next save when we get to that point. Wait, Crush, you're loving the YouTube series of this. Gotta give you big respect for picking this game up as quickly as you have. Mucho respecto, amigo. Gracias. Yeah, no problem, man. Dude, this scratches the itch, Wait, Crush. I'm telling you. It scratches the itch. I freaking love it. It's a really, really fun game. I could see us getting some good content out of this. So, I mean, like I said, we will go back to space stuff. We always do. But this is just... I'm binging the frick out of this game because I like it a lot. Yeah, City Builder on steroids. Dude, if this game wasn't... Oh, man. If it was, like, capitalistic, you'd never do, like... I mean, dude, I don't even mind, like... But, yeah, if this game, like, had a free market in it... I mean, it kind of does, but... Dude, it would be nuts. It's a city builder that actually focuses on the building part. Yeah, for real. Yeah, that's why I like it, man. A crazy game mechanic. How about a mechanic in 1991? You switch to a capitalistic society. Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah, exactly, LM. That's what I was just thinking. How cool would that actually be? Game unlock. You unlock capitalism. You unlock the free market. In 1991. You have declared independence. now you no longer tell people to face wall, you tell them to face customer. Look at how progressive we are. Happy times. You get massive chaos and corruption? Yeah, right? It's like, oh, this construction depot is now private. You lose all those vehicles. Yeah, Jack, yeah, speedrun to a Soyuz. Did we ever get prefabs on that damn railroad depot? No prefabricated panels, huh? There we go. He's gonna go unload the panels there. Yeah, the other thing is that I gotta figure out like ideal distance for snowplows and stuff. I'd rather face wall than customer. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Alright. We're on a mission from Gad. Yeah, the more I think about it, a distribution office down here would probably be a good idea. Let's go here like this. See, we have some electrical lines that we can run. We can run a small... Should be able to run an electrical circuit this way, and then run an electrical circuit that way. For now, for local power. Eventually getting high voltage over here for the iron mine and stuff, which we should design now too, along with this road construction, it would probably be a good idea. Yeah. And yeah, I think for construction from now on, it would be better to budget out the amount of resources you need. So build out the road first, build a construction depot, get power out here, gasoline, which we already kind of have from grading the road, and tally up the total amount of resources and put some open storage in. So when when the construction depot goes to do the jobs, you just hit play and then the resources are all stacked. Staging the materials is probably a good idea. It's probably just important as staging the trucks. Not just telling them to go all the way to that construction depot over there. Because, yeah, like I said, we're getting screwed on gasoline costs. And it's not that big of a deal with the railroads, to be honest. Maybe we could figure out rail distro. Combine that storage with rail distribution and you got a great idea. That would mean I would need a station over here for gravel. Kibbles, this is a very easy game to get addicted to. Alright, let's do it. We need the cash. I'm visualizing Rail Distro to keep a large gravel storage over their stockpile that a distro could use. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. So what are we going to need over here? We're going to need, so we need to go aggregates. We need a train aggregate loading station. Oh, shoot. The road.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Adam, 67 months, dude. What's up? How you doing? It's good to see you, man. Much cleaner. Pleasure's all mine. Right on, man. Thank you. You going to be covering the Falcon 9 launch? Yeah, Dan, that should be soon, right? Wait, that was in range of electricity, right? Does the aggregate loading not need it? Oh yeah, it was definitely in range. Okay, cool. Launch window opens at 3:30. Yeah, we got Marapudi. The name of the satellite sounds like a fax machine, to be honest. It's tent. This is HTS-113BT. It's an Indonesian communication satellite. Can trains transport asphalt? Don't know. I'm thinking, Sea Kraken, it would be better at a train offload depot to have an asphalt plant localized to the distribution office. Because if we can't transport asphalt, we can transport, I know we can transport bitumen, we can transport tar. I know we can do that. I think asphalt is one of those mix-on-site jobs. SpaceX is targeting the opening of the window with Stage 2 LOX load starting soon. Okay. Market oil is rising up. January of '88. Nice. The railroad builders are building. Good. Good, 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 good. All those tracks are expensive. It's gonna get expensive. But, like I said, we should... No, this thing should be good to go in time for the harvest. You know what? Take that truck and put it over in the other depot. You gotta keep it uniform. Keeping the same type of trucks in here and keeping it all nice and uniform should help me. It helps me distinguish what truck is coming from where. And I have actually, what I've been doing is color coding the trucks. So if I see a red come as 5410, it's a farm truck. Yellow is construction, green is distribution. Gray is, I think I have gray for transport and logistics. Like, well, not gray. Gray trailer, blue cab. Yeah, we need a footpath to the brick factory. Good day, Jim. How are you, my friend? Are you on hard or realistic? Whatever the maximum difficulty settings were in the game is what I'm on. It might be better to just have labor going directly to the brick factory because it's automatically being fed, which means we're gonna need vehicles. Let me find a depot. Do we have vehicles in here? We have 2 Vegas. Alright, let's go in here. What can we buy? Speed. Oh, C-Series Mercedes. Actually, I don't think there was a C-Series in the late 80s. It was E and S class, right? Mercedes, yes. Okay, what color should we make the Mercedes? That's definitely an E-Class. It's a 2-door though. Oh no, it is a C. Huh. Brick red, why not? I told them to go to Spaghettsoft Southeast, which has plenty of labor. SpaceX is online. Okay, cool. Guys, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to check out some rocket launch action. Don't worry, plenty more workers and resources here. How's the city doing, Marco? It's doing just fine. Well, we're still in spiraling debt, and basically I'm spending until we're profitable. Hopefully, what I'm going to try to do is see if we can get out of the hole by 1991. I don't think it's going to happen. I think I'm out of time. But it would be good to try to see if we can implement stuff quick and fast like this. I think that would be fun to do. We are spiraling up. In the meantime, what we're going to do is watch the Maripudi launch, which is the HTS-113 BT.